Hello, I'm gonna take you with me on a cycling trip and we are going to journey through the ordinary streets of Osaka. This route I'm going to take is not touristy, it'll be dark at some point, there are no scenic backgrounds, but if you want to know how it feels like to cycle in Osaka like the residents here, you will find out in this video. In 2016, I got lucky and landed a job in Osaka. As you may know, Japanese workers are the 10th hardest working in the world. I must say, that is undeniably true, and as if keeping pace with Japanese co-workers wasn't enough, there also is the Japanese pursuit of perfection, meaning there is zero tolerance for mistakes. You can probably imagine how much pressure there is to work in Japan, and one of the things that helped me cope in this culture is cycling. Before Japan, I never had the courage to cycle on the street, but because the roads here are all friendly to bikers, it's really easy to ride that bicycle. And if you want to learn Japanese kanji, this is also a good way. Take for example this sign which says tomare or stop. Seeing it every time you cross an intersection will make you remember that this kanji means stop. I remember the first time that I cycled on the street. It was with my elder sister who visited me for 3 days, one of which was her birthday that year. As a gift, I booked a cycling tour with Cycle Osaka. It was a group tour. All participants were lent a bike and they showed us around Osaka's beautiful spots. We visited Osaka Central Hall, Nakanoshima Park, Sakura-no-Miya Park, Osaka Castle, and Utsubo Park all in half day. And since it was Sakura season, we were cycling under cherry blossom trees. My sister stayed for a short time but she saw a lot of Kansai region. Let's take a stop first at the 7-Eleven store on the left. Another thing that I used to not do before Japan is cooking. That's why in the early months of my stay, I often visited the convenience store or konbini as they say in Japanese. They have almost everything: toiletries, drinks, medicine, bread, meals, ATM, coffee to go, souvenir, office supplies, the list is long. What I recommend you should buy is their fried chicken. For 7-Eleven, it's called Nana Chicken, Nana for 7, and for Family Mart, it's called Fami Chicken. For drinks, you should try their matcha latte to go. That's a good konbini purchase you'll have there. And when you get to the counter, you can casually say, arigato as thanks. Should you really include cycling in your itinerary in Japan? If you're confident at cycling, my answer is a strong yes. If you're a beginner, my answer is still yes, but do it in the parks, away from traffic. My favorite park to visit on a bike is Narradler Park. The space is huge so you can practice cycling, and there are literally deer all around the area so you'll have great pictures. There are plenty of bike rental services in Japan, especially near tourist spots. Rent fee would cost from 500 to 1,500 yen per bicycle, depending on the type and the time it'll be rented. If you can plot a really good route to follow, I think cycling is preferable, money-wise and energy-wise. Most tourists say that traveling in Japan is a lot of walking, so cycling will definitely take you around faster. And if you have a close friend living in Japan with a bike, you can even just borrow. All you have to do is research the places you want to visit and plot them in Google Maps. I usually follow the walking maps because then I will be less exposed to the main roads where there are plenty of cars. Let's take another stop at Don Quixote store. This is one of the famous stores that tourists visit to buy souvenir. Souvenir in Japanese is omiyage. So if you hear omiyage shop, that means souvenir shop. In Don Quixote, you can find a lot of things. There are so many that I always feel lost in the store. As for prices, I think this shop is cheap for some items and expensive for others. I've been to supermarkets which sell food items for lesser cost, but supermarkets don't have everything that Don Quixote offers. Since this shop have the best variety of souvenirs from food items to merchandise, I think this is a practical place to go to. Plus, they will not charge tax if your purchase is 5,000 yen or more. You would definitely reach more than 5,000 yen if you're gonna buy souvenirs from Japan for family, friends, and co-workers. In my opinion, This shop saves time and money for tourists. What am I doing cycling at this time? I reserve my weekends either for sleeping or for traveling to far places. That's why I cycle on weekdays. Japanese people are hard workers, so we usually end late and I cycle at night.
Turn left.
To be honest, there have been a couple of times that I got lost while cycling. They were mostly because I relied on road signs to check on my ability when it comes to directions. I sometimes do 5-kilometer runs, so I can recognize a number of main roads and landmarks now. Actually, I cycle once a week, and when I cycle, I go for 10-kilometer distances or more. I visit tourist spots around my area to make it more exciting. Tonight is going to the famous Dotonbori. Great! The rain stopped. I'm almost there. I really wish cycling was more popular in my culture in the Philippines because it's really fun and it's a low-impact form of exercise for all ages. We have basketball courts everywhere because we patronize basketball. Imagine if cycling was also a big thing in the Philippines. We'll have bike lanes, bike parking lots, bike rental services, bike tours everywhere. And probably the streets and alleys will be similar to Japan. People might consider cycling to work, school, park, or shops instead of driving a 4-seated car with just the driver. Well, I am now in Namba area and in a couple more blocks is my destination. This area is popular for its shopping streets and nightlights, as you can see from the surroundings. It's usually crowded by residents and tourists, but since it's late, there are few people. I'm used to going home late when I worked in Metro Manila in the Philippines, and compared to that, Osaka is very safe. But you should take my statement with a grain of salt. If you're going to visit Japan, I highly encourage you to include cycling in your itinerary. Don't be afraid to get lost because that's actually where you'll get the most of the experience. So long as you have plenty of time and the weather is nice, I promise you, cycling in Japan is a good experience.